Chapter 15. A Theft in the Night. Now the days passed slowly and weary. Many of the dwarfs spent their time piling in order the treasure, and now Thorin spoke of the Arkenstone of Thrain, and laid them eagerly to look for in it every corner. For the Arkenstone of my father, he said, is worth more than a river of gold in itself. And to me it is beyond price. The stone of all the treasures I name unto myself, and I will be avenged on anyone who finds it when withholds it. Bilbo heard these words, and he grew afraid, wondering what would happen if the stone was found wrapped in an old bundle of tattered oddments that he used as a pillow. All the same, he did not speak of it, for as the weariness of the days grew heavier, and beginnings of a plan that had come to his little head, things had gone on like this for some time, and when the ravens brought news that Dane and more than 500 dwarves hurrying from the Iron Mountains, were now within about 2 days' march of Dale, coming from the northeast. But they cannot reach the mountains unmasked, said Roak, and I feel list of their battle in the valley. I do not call the council good. Though they are a grim folk, they are not likely to overcome the host that beats you. And even if they did so, what will you gain? Winter and snow has hostage behind them. How shall you be fed without the friendship and goodwill of the lands about you? The treasure is likely to be your death, though the dragon is no more. But Thrain was moved. Winter and snow will bite both men and elves, he said, and they may find dwelling in the waste grievous to bear. With my friends behind them and winter upon them, they will perhaps be softer moved to parley with. That night Bilbo made up his mind. The sky was black and moonless. As soon as it was full dark, he went to a corner of an inner chamber just within the gate and drew from his bundle of rope, and also the Arkenstone wrapped in a rag, and then he climbed onto the top of the wall. Only Bomber was there, for it was his turn to watch, and the dwarves kept the one watchman at a time. "It is mighty cold," said Bomber. "I wish we could have fire up here, as they have in the camp." "It is warm enough inside," said Bilbo. "I dare say, but I am bound here till midnight," grumbled the fat dwarf. "A sorry business altogether. Now the adventurers would disagree with Thorin, for man his beard grow even longer, yet he was never ever a dwarf with a stiff neck." "Not as stiff as my legs," said Bilbo. "I'm tired of stairs and stone passages. I would give a good deal for the feeling of the grass of my toes." "I would give a good deal for the feel of a strong drink in my throat and a soft bed after a good supper. I can't give you those while the siege is going on, but it is long since I watched, and I will take your turn for you. If you like, there is no sleep in me tonight." "You are a good fellow, Mr. Baggins, and I will take your offer kindly. If there should be anything turn out to rouse me first, mind you, I will lie in the inner chamber to the left, not far away." "Off we go," said Bilbo. "I will wake you at midnight, and you can wake the next watchman." As soon as Bomber had gone, Bilbo put on his ring and fastened his rope, slipped down over the wall, and was gone. He was about 5 hours before him. Bomber would sleep. He could sleep at any time, and ever since the adventure in his forest, he was always trying to recapture the beautiful dream he had then, and all the others were busy with Thorin. It was unlikely that even Philly and Killy would come out of the wall until it was their turn. It was very dark in the road after a while when he left the newly made path and climbed down towards the lower course of the stream. It was strange to him. At last he came to the bend where he had to cross the water. If he was to make the bend where he had to cross the water, if he was to make for the camp as he wished, the bed of the stream was there, shallow but already broad, and fording them, if in the dark, was not easy for the little hobbit. He was nearly across when he missed his footing on the round stone and fell into cold water with a splash. He had barely scrambled out on the far bank, shivering and spluttering, when he came up the elves in the gloom with bright lanterns in search for the cause of the noise. That was no fish. One said, "There is a spy about. Hide your lights. They will help him more than us. If it's the queer little creature that is sent to be their servant." "Servant indeed," snorted Bilbo, and in the middle of his snort he sneezed loudly, and the elves immediately gathered towards the sound. "Let's have a light," he said. "I am here if you want me," and he slipped off his ring and popped from behind a lock. They seized him quickly in spite of their surprise. "Who are you? Are you the dwarves, hobbit?" What are you doing? How did you get so far past our sentinels?" they asked one another. "I am Mr. Bilbo Baggins," he answered, "companion of Thorin. If you want to know, I know your king well by sight, though perhaps he doesn't know me to look at, but Bard will remember me, and it is Bard I particularly want to see." "Indeed," said they, "and what may be your business?" "Whatever it is, it's my own, my good elves. But if you wish ever to get back to your own woods from this cold, cheerless place," he answered, shivering, "you will take me along quickly at the fire, where I can dry, and then you will let me speak to your chiefs as quick as it may be. I have only an hour or two to spare." That is how it came about that some 2 hours after his escape from the gate, Bilbo was sitting beside a warm fire in the wrong front of a large tent. And there sat two, gazing curiously at him, both the Elven King and Bard. A hobbit in elvish armor, partly wrapped in an old blanket, was something new to them. "Really, you know," Bilbo was saying in his best business manner. "Things are impossible. Personally, I am tired of the whole affair. I wish I was back in the West in my own home, where folks are more reasonable, but I have an interest in this matter. 1/14th share, to be precise, according to a letter which fortunately I believe I have kept." He drew from his pocket in his old jacket, which he wore over his mail, crumpled and much fold, Thorin's letter that had been put under a clock on his maintenance piece in May. "A share in the profits, mind you," he went on. "I am aware of that. Personally, I am only too ready to consider all your claims carefully and deduct what is right from the total before putting in my own claim. However, you didn't know putting in my own claim. However, you didn't know Thorin Oakeshield as well as I do know. Now I assure you he is quite ready to sit on a heap of gold and starve, as long as you sit here." "Well, let him," said Bard. "Such a fool deserves to starve." "Quite so," said Bilbo. "I see your point of view. At the same time, winter is coming on fast. Before long you will be having snow and what not. A surprise will be difficult, even for the elves, I imagine. Also, there will be other difficulties. You have not heard of Dane and the dwarves on the Iron Hills. We have a long time ago, but what has he got to do with us?" asked the king. "I thought as much. I see I have some information I have not got. Dane, I may tell you, is now less than 2 days' march off. He has at least 500 grim dwarves with him. A good many of them had experience in the dreadful dwarf and the goblin wars, and of which you would not doubt heard. When they arrive, they may be serious trouble." "Why are you telling us this?" "Are you betraying your friends, or are you threatening us?" asked Bilbo grimly. "My dear Bard," squeaked Bilbo, "don't be so hasty. I never met such suspicious folk. I am merely trying to avoid trouble for all concerned. Now I will make you an offer. Let us hear it," they say. "You may see it," said he. It is this," and he drew forth the Arkenstone and threw away the wrapping. The Elven King himself, whose eyes were used to things of wonder and beauty, stood up in amazement. Even Bard gazed marveling in its silence. If it was as if a globe had been filled with moonlight and hung above before them in a net woven the great frosty stars. The glint of frosty stars. "This is the Arkenstone of Thrain," said Bilbo, "the heart of the mountain, and it is also the heart of Thorin. He values it more above a river of gold. I give it to you. It will aid you in the bargain." Then Bilbo, not without a shudder, not without a glance of longing, handed the marvelous stone to Bard, and he held it into his hand as though gazed. "But how is it yours to give?" he asked at last with a muffled, "Oh well," said Hobbit uncomfortably, "it isn't exactly, but I am willing to let it stand against all my claim. Don't you know I may be a burglar, so they say. Personally, I never really felt like one, but I am an honest one, I hope, more or less. Anyway, I am going back now, and the dwarves can do what they like to me. I hope you will find it useful." The Elven King looked at Bilbo with a new wonder. "Bilbo Baggins," he said, "you are more worthy to wear than armor of elf princes that made the have look more comely in it. But I wonder if we'll throw in Oaken's shield, we'll see it. So I have more knowledge of dwarves in general than you have, perhaps. I advise you to remain with us, and here you shall be honored and thrice welcome." "Thank you very much, I am sure," said Bilbo with a bow, "but I don't think I ought to leave my friends like this. Oh, what we have gone through together, and I promised to wake old Bomber at midnight too. Really, I must be going in quickly." Nothing they would say to stop him, so an escort was provided to him, and as he went both the king and the bard saluted him with honor. As they passed through the camp, an old man wrapped in a dark cloak rose from the tent door, where he was sitting, and come towards them. "Well done, Mr. Baggins," he said, clapping Bilbo on the back. "There is always more about you than everyone except." It was Gandalf. For the first time of many a day, Bilbo was really delighted, but there was no time for all the questions that he immediately wished to ask. "All in good time," said Gandalf. "Things are drawing towards the end now. Unless I am mistaken, there is an unpleasant time just in front of you, but keep your heart up. You may come through all right. There is news brewing, even that rabbins have not heard. Good night." Puzzled but cheered, Bilbo hurried on. He was guided to a safe ford and set across dry, and then he was said farewell to the elves and clumped carefully back towards the gate. Great worrings began to come over him, but it was well before midnight when he clambered up the rope again. It was still where he had left it. He untied it and hid it, and then he sat down on the wall and wondered anxiously what would happen next. At midnight he woke up Bomber, and then in turn rolled himself up in his corner, without listening to the old dwarf's thanks, which he felt he had hardly earned. He was soon fast asleep, forgetting all his worries till the morning. As a matter of fact, he was dreaming of eggs and bacon.